Maybe that's enough for a thumbnail. But I made carrot cake, and I usually do this when I'm fairly stressed out. Oh, give me a sec. Oh, I can't flip it. I can't flip the camera. My gosh. Okay, you know what? We'll just do it like this. Look at this. Oh my lord, it smells so beautiful. I'm gonna let it chill out for 10 minutes. I put berries in there too. And then I'm gonna coat it with some peanut butter. Anyways, mind you, the stress part. One thing I love doing, I don't even say I love, it's not that I love doing it. One thing I naturally do is I cook when I'm extremely stressed out. Or I just be more caring and more alert. That's my go-to thing to do when I'm stressed out. And the reason I'm so stressed out now is because I have recently departed from a very abusive household. And I've found something so bitterly horrifying yet necessary is this fact of you having to relearn how the world functions in terms of money, mortgage, work. Because one of the most important things that I've found and noted of myself is in those times and childhoods of complete lostness, neglect, abuse, and all of that, right? I was lucky enough to go into myself. Fortunate or unfortunate, however you look at it, was able to go in myself and learn and expand and nuance about the myself from a place where there's a lot of degeneracy, from a place where there's a lot of violence and selfishness and no love. I don't even know what that is at the time. I'm very fortunate enough to find wisdom or philosophy or in my specific case combat, fighting, and through that I found more wisdom, knowledge, philosophy, compassion. All of these things were impossible. They really were for myself, because I should have been raised not with a book but a gun in my hand and my feet on the necks of 100 people in a city or village. Rule with fear, that is what is taught. What was taught, what is taught even now as I see in this world, in this workplace, is just packaged differently. I am an amalgamation, a byproduct, or a extension, yet at the same time a differentiation from all the philosophers and writers and poets and fighters and greats that came about. These are all people I siphoned so deeply, because in a place where you are so boundless, in the sense you are willing to die to see a better day tomorrow and to give hope for people that, hey, if I can see it, then you can too. Because there was nothing beautiful about being a little boy locked up in a corner of a room in the dark, hoping that please someone help us, please someone save us. Oh my gosh. Oh God, please help me, my mother, and all. And being left unanswered. I just went down the route of realization that God's silence was the answer. And I'm the one who's sent here to deal with this, not God. And I vowed, I don't know what I did, I had this click or epiphany, since I'm just a little boy, that I am going to be so head to head with God, I'm going to kill him. And for that, every atom in me had to be intelligent, strong, and I became so by devouring all I could, knowledge-wise, and as I mentioned, when going on the path of fighting and combat, I had to devour all of history of not just each individual fighter, but how they lived, how they faced hardships, and over time I became more understanding of the nuance that they live with their life with, and not just restricted to the fighter's history, but expanding onto all the histories of words themselves, wisdoms itself, these sayings from all these poets and writers and activists and revolutionaries, bit by bit, everyday process, while simultaneously training my body beyond this breaking point for years on end. When bones crack, I kept going, but I still kept myself studious and internal work. I survived by pretending I'm enslaved to a home and people. They will keep me alive as long as I be their servant. Don't talk, don't breathe. Even breathing a certain ways, you get scolded. I changed how to breathe in the dark times, very dark times, and all in all, it brought me about to an internal expansion. And through that, I was able to understand interconnectedness of not just myself, but myself and the whole totality of existence, and how the mind functions, how the body functions, and the most horrifying part, by meeting new people and being hurt and harmed by them, I saw the overlaps and overconnected by the abusers and narcissists and sociopaths and psychopaths. I saw all of it and myself. I saw the horrifying interconnectedness of how self-neglected we are. And it's very isolating. It's more isolating to live while being aware of that than it is being locked and cornered by life and people and wishing you're dead. It's far more lonely to see how asleep and dormant we are. It's a result of all wars, a result of how all this workplace works. And I will get into that. I really will, because having been in this situation for so long, never being acknowledged at all for this awareness, not just me, but themselves, the people themselves. I continued to do the impossible, which was to be gentle and be kind. It's extremely difficult. You will have, or at least I have, 1,000 reasons to burn everything around me, hurt, harm, use, abuse everything around me, yet still so softly and eloquently. Mothers and fathers and brothers and sisters, they can trust me with their children. They can trust me with pains and anguish that they have never shared with anyone. Strangers who can share so much, and they only talk to me 3 hours at work. Who does that? And these are professionals. And transitioning from that departure, from being with the people who brought me down to my knees, not just family, what you would say. Family is just a word. Departure. Now I'm learning to do and understand the work world. is agonizing. To have one of the brightest minds and also being able to say that was a whole process. To have one of the most endeared and shattered and anguished, and the list goes on, minds, and the most beautiful, and I have to cut it down just to fit into this thing of survival, job and mortgage and all of this, amongst people who are so infantile. Life means nothing to them, and they only pretend it does. Death means nothing to them, but they only pretend it does. They're all pretenders. And to function in a way of greatness, of true greatness, doing the most difficult things with the simplest of ease, is so difficult. To be good, to be shown and given and impaled and carved in you 1,000 different reasons to hurt, harm, abuse, use, and discard, yet still breaking all logic and caring for the whole depth of the soul of the human being, not by the jargon of psychology, which has now become this rubbish, and to be fair, it has been for such a long time, or the sciences. To care, which myself I do, is so amalgamated and is further nuancing itself in this work world, which I'll get into. The work ethic from 15, 16 hours a day of I'm gonna be somebody, do something so I can give hope to people, and trying to find a way of it, trying to put it in this, finding a job, this making a living, basic income, and all of this. It's so underwhelmingly depressing because it's so alone. You know this cake that I'm baking? I have in the past a week, and I just give like half of it to my neighbor because I want to love. That is who I am, because I made myself that, and it has become such an intrinsic part of myself, so much so it is not a feeling or an emotion, it is law of the universe. I am not good, I just am. I can hold the weight of these people, as horrible as it been. There have been women who have been assaulted or even raped and so on. Adults, men who have never shared an ounce of their heart with anyone. I can hold all of that since I was a kid. I've only gotten stronger and better. And before I wished and I begged, oh, I can't do it anymore. But now I can hold that version of me that held all those people. And to do everything alone. Trying to I don't want to say desperate, but desperately putting that work ethic into finding work with all the credentials, not just from the highly extremes of understanding of the mind, body, philosophy, psychology. I look at psychologists themselves, and they're so, most of them, man, if not all, they're so regressed and limited in knowledge. They have their own separate departments of specializations of anxiety and depressions and, psychotherapy, when all of this is so simply one to myself. And I share this knowledge with people for free. But being in this work world, nothing is supposed to be free. Nothing is supposed to be helping you. Devour one another and only pretend to care. Fake smile, fake everything. You have 1 bill, 2 bill, 3 bills, 4. Yeah, I'd much rather die, I really would, than to harm or use or abuse someone to pay that bill. But I know most people are not me. And I don't think they can be, no matter how much they try, because they, at their core, don't want to be compassionate in the truest of sense. Because it takes extreme love, intelligence, and strength to never bend to desperation of that kind. Being in this workplace now and mixing this way of life where I'm departed from that old way of life of being put in a corner all the time. It's so underwhelmingly alone. Most relationships too, because I see it, I see the dynamics. It's all superficial. And if they're happy, smiling, a lot of it is just false. It's a pretend and they don't even know it because they're so unaware of the self and the body. There's always gonna be unemployment, desperation, people looking for work. That's just gonna increase, but that's only a byproduct of from the people that never took time to understand themselves. And they make a system where you are by design supposed to forget all parts of yourself. Hey, you don't want to die? Okay, at least you get to be miserable and desperate and so exhausted that you can't even do anything. No one to guide you with honesty, no one to hold you with honesty, no one to teach you with honesty. That in itself was uncharted, and somehow I came on the other end, 1 in 1 trillion. And now going into this place, looking for work, looking for my own management. I am not without credentials, right? Like I have my own journalistic and management and so much. But just so sad to go from one world to another and another just to be alone. Not lonely, alone. I'm gonna go put some peanut butter on top of the carrot cake, put it in the fridge, and then put some icing on it, maybe. Or maybe it's the other way around. I'll get back to you in a bit. Okay, I put the cake in the fridge, and oh, look at how that looks. My gosh. After 2 hours of job searching, again, I'm going to just put some icing on it. And you know, one thing I didn't get to mention before is there are so many overlaps when it comes to savagery in places that does not have the most education, and savagery between places that do have the most education. You'll find that a lot of people, not just in the workplace, but a lot of people that have been in abusive positions and people who have abused and been narcissistic, all of them have heavy overlaps, just in different form. This whole place is so well designed to hide people who use and harm another, but it has nothing that caters to it, nothing that caters to the people who have been on the receiving end of it. And it's just so sad because it doesn't matter what happens to you, you still have to find your way to survive. You still have to go on with your life regardless if you've been punctured or not, of anyhow. And that's the thing, right? When you are in a relationship of any kind, I'm just taking a random oatmeal cookie, you don't have to do this, and crumbling it. Regardless of what happens to you, regardless of how horrible something it is that happens to you, you still have to function for survival. It just so happens that that makes it so much harder for you to go into tomorrow, go into work, but you still have to make it happen. I'm just going to put this in the fridge for the next 24 hours or so, or maybe I'm just gonna eat it tomorrow for breakfast, right? But the important thing is there is no unison between the importance of self-internal progression and how the work world functions. These two are completely separate things, And myself finding my footing, I'm just putting this some chia seeds, finding some footing, it's really difficult to go around with a fake smile and see the fakeness in people and see so many of the overlaps that are amongst the harmers and just day-to-day people in the workplace. I'm gonna put this in the fridge. Whoops. Whoa. Put it in the fridge. And then after 20 minutes, I'm gonna put a cover on it so it can be very flavorful for tomorrow. I will let you know how it tastes tomorrow. Maybe I might just even do a follow-up video, but it is so difficult, so difficult to do it. By it, I mean anything alone. And I get this sense of function that makes me function is when I say to myself there are no friends and no enemies at all, anywhere. There's only us who is about to die. And how we survive, yes, you can easily seep your pain onto the other, or completely ignore another's. But you do not have to. But I will not talk on your behalf. On my behalf, I won't. And maybe I don't go homeless because of that in the next 2 months. I say it with a light tone, but I'm very serious. Anyways, if you have, for whatever reason, stood this far, sat this far, be on your bed this far, listen to me yap, cool. But sorry for blinding you there. But I have to get back to work. My gosh. And I'll be doing more deep dives into like serious things that we have to do as a humanity to progress consciousness. And sadly, I don't think that will happen. There will only be more pain, more unemployment, more anguish, more separation, more me, masked as, but I'm doing this because I'm supposed to. Whatever that means. Yeah, just a big shift. Goodbye. So now it is afternoon. I had to skip breakfast. And cool little story actually. Not just the fact that the cake, I covered it overnight, is ready, and I'm interested to see how it is, but something that really made me tear up today. Whoops. There it is. There's a big reveal. Then I'll tell you the story. Oh my gosh. Oh, that smells so good. Do you see that? Holy moly. So maybe actually I can even use this thing as a thumbnail. Not bad. Not bad, kid. I'm just gonna get this ready and have it with my tea for breakfast. Now, before I eat my breakfast, I'm just gonna take a bite of the cake to see how it is. Oh my lord. I'm surprised I made that. I really am. Oh my gosh, I can't believe it's so good. With berries in the middle, cookies, carrot cake, wow. But before oh my god, you guys don't know how much discipline I have to not just eat all of this right now. But I've been talking about this aloneness and this complete shift of having the things you cared so much for just separated. Me, my sister, my brother, and having that, and at the same time an abusive narcissistic household, extremely vile, even that being stripped away, and being overwhelmed by this new way of life of just surviving, right? Finding work and relearning yourself. Today, oh, it's just luck or God loving me, or I don't know. But I went to see a fellow librarian because I had like 2 months overdue, like 30 books, because I would read a lot to my brother and sister. And they're overdue, so I went and returned it. And I always ask, where's this brother? Mention name. Oh, he's not here today. And I thought, the worst thing possible, because last time we talked, he kept mentioning, hey, listen, you're going through this and this. He's one of the few who has a relation of mutual understanding, of being in the hardship. He has been in relational extremities as well. So last time we talked, he's mentioning, hey, you don't have to worry about me, worry about you. And now we come full circle. But here's the thing, he's not at the library. So I come home, and I was, initially wanted to give him half the cake because I haven't seen him so long. And I gave him a message, and he reached out to me. I called, and he mentioned, man, he reunited with his heart, with his love, with his boy, with his child. The timing for me to reach out to him at the timing where he reunited at that exact time, and he still made time to call me. And I'm like, oh my God, I have more of a reason to give him, like, the whole thing. Why not? And he said, no, listen, I just need time with this little boy. But what made me cry, what made me tear up, is he's mentioning, hey, listen, oh my God, and the connection with, oh my God. Yesterday I made a video about how the mind needs space, and I was so overwhelmed, but I was trying my best to make sense that the mind needs space. All the things have to be taken out the mind. And there needs be space, because when there is not, then life cannot enter, because thoughts block it or distort it, and then it's not life, it's distortion. And I was touching upon this idea of space is necessary, because that is existence. And this brother, this librarian, he made me tear up. He keeps giving me words of encouragement, but honest ones. And he mentioned, listen, God tests you by taking everything away from you. Oh, and then just how he said it just made my throat lump. And when he takes all this away from you, and then you have space for yourself to grow, you have space to build yourself. God knew you can't be more with them, so he made space for you. And the coincidence is so profound. He's meeting his heart that he shared so much about. I lost part of my heart, and finding this new adjustment really is no different than simply not giving up. Really. For myself and for him, the common denominator has been the extremity of doing good. We've been there in hell, we've been there in grimness. Dark thoughts, what you think, is they're not so far-fetched, far off. But the hardest thing we do is to not let love fade. Because I always believe, what good is love if not shared? And we may lose all, we may lose nothing. But what good is a life if it not be well tested? And what good is love but the one that refuses to fade? And I will now enjoy my brunch. I love you all. I really do. I don't even know you. You don't even watch this stuff. Why am I even making this? Oh my God, after this I have to go job hunting for 8 hours. Much love. One thing that happened after I finished the reading is I talked with my sister and the stars align so well. And she recently got gifted a cake. And we're both eating cake in different time zones. I don't know, that's just so profound to me. Oh, I've had such a difficult week, and I think it's gonna stay like that for a while. But as mentioned before, right? Regardless of your shifts of life, it's very easy to give up because it's very easy to forget purpose. And purpose is not some grandiose thing we have or we make. Purpose is you. The whole purpose of life itself is for it to life itself. However that may look like. There's no criteria for it, but there most definitely needs be. Not will, not thinking too much, not feeling too much. And regardless if that happens, but it more comes down to simply being. And I think the main thing is we think, and again we think, but we feel, again we feel, that simply being is some lower level or severe inadequacy, but in all actuality it is the opposite. Us being is us free. And when we come to a closer understanding, effort becomes effortless. And things begin to happen, coincidences begin to happen. And I am just so content because sometimes I think even God is looking out for me. I don't know why. But having the talk with that librarian, the brother, he's more than a librarian, more than a brother. He's a human being. From human being to another human being, I did not have to say a word and he understood my pains. Never really had that in my life. Always been to be that for others, but never had that on the receiving end. And going in this aloneness alone, right? He mentioned as well, hey, it's a completely different ball game because you have this uniqueness of not having them around whom I loved, whom got me through, whom I protected, and now it's just myself. Well, what do I do with me? We'll have to find out. But what will you do with you? I don't know. Why don't you find out? And that's just something sweet I wanted to share. I talked with my sister and we ate cake together. Somehow she was gifted a cake on like 10 minutes prior. And we shared our cakes. And she told me how she also made donuts like a day ago and they tasted amazing. I believe her. She's so beautiful. And I think these things, these moments where you can find beautifulness and not just this grandiose idea of love, but the simplicity of it is just, it makes hell so much more bearable. That's all I wanted to share. Oh, and by the way, cake I would give 10 out of 10. The carrot cake that I made. She was eating a chocolate one. I had berries in mine, and I also put peanut butter, icing, and chia seeds and crushed almonds in that. Next time I'm going to make a chocolate cake, and I'm going to get better at what's that word? Piping. Yeah, like making designs. Now, by the way, this is all simultaneous as I work non-stop, not just in job hunting, but keeping myself just even a little bit applied for myself, right? Make a cake or something, make food, clean up, just move my body around. I've been neglecting myself a lot, but I know that that is just a pattern. I've been yapping a bit too much, but yeah. New chapter. Even if you go through, know that all of past is what taints today, and you just enjoy what you have today, because all else is temporary. Even your past, the reason you're in pain or misery is because your past is distorting now. That does not mean never feel sad, never feel anything, but it does not have to mean anything at all. Again, I don't know why I'm yapping so much, but I have gratitude even in hell right now. It may not look like it because I say everything with a smile on my face, but maybe not in 1 month, maybe not in 2 months, maybe not in 3 months. Anything will change. But I'm willing to weather fire and the storm, and I hope you are too. I don't know what I was gonna say anymore. I think I've been yapping too much. Share anything you want, right? Like, hey, good cake, like or whatever, subscribe or whatnot. I want to share more, not just this stuff. And these are just for myself, but depth of mind, depth of soul, depth of carrots and cakes and mixed combined. Who knows? I don't know.